crazy. It's Monday. It's time for the UPBGE video of the week. Now, before I get started, gotta give a shout out to my trusted, because you guys rock. To my crazy fam, I love you guys. Now, we're up to episode number 82. Last week, we left off on page 24, which was normal maps and height maps. Kind of ran out of time, so let's get started. Let's switch you over to here, so that way you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and that's these right here. You know, textures and everything is what we were working on last week. Okay, normal maps and height maps. A normal map is stored as a regular image file, but instead of changing the color of the surface like a regular color texture, normal maps are used to alter the per pixel surface normal. By altering the surface normal, you can change the apparent bumpiness of a surface. Internally, a normal map uses the three color channels RGB, red, green, blue, to store the normal directions X, Y, and Z, up, down, left, right, and forward, back, of a surface. Because most surface normals are pointing straight up, they have a normal value of X equals 0.5, Y equals 0.5, Z equals 1.0, which is what gives normal maps the distinct purple color when in tangent space. Speaking of tangent space, normal maps can be stored in various different spaces, such as tangent, object, world, and camera space. They affect how the normal maps are interpreted and used in lighting computations. Suffice it to say that tangent space is the most commonly used option. Okay. The other options in the influence section work in the exact way as color and normal. They each influence a different aspect of the material. For example, if you want a texture to influence the alpha value of a material, let's go down here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, some of these right here. You got alpha, you got color, intensity, normal, so on and so forth. Okay. For example, if you want a texture to influence the alpha value of a material, enable alpha and set the influence to 1. So you enable alpha and then you set the influence to 1. Then in the material panel, I'm going to come back over here to the material. Okay. Then in the material panel, make sure the alpha is set to 0. So we've got to go to here where alpha is. Where's that? A little bit different in this one. Where's my alpha channel? I believe that's transparency, but it used to be alpha. It used to be able to have set alpha. Here, it's alpha. Okay, you want to set it to blend. So alpha blend. Okay. And there is no alpha 0, okay, because we don't have any. UPBGE doesn't use it, so you should be okay with it. I don't see any alpha. You get transparency, but we're talking about alpha background and stuff, okay? Now, blend, alpha blend. The blend selector is another key setting that controls how textures are mixed with each other, okay? That's the blending. The blend option controls how the texture is mixed with the existing material color. Okay? You've got negative, and I don't see that anywhere. But let's see here. The only thing I got is alpha on this. I don't see anything else that has to do with alpha or shading or there you go, blend. Okay, here's what we're supposed to do. No? Intensity. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can do the blend mix, and you can mix them together, add them together, subtract, so on and so forth, all these values. I had the wrong one. I apologize for that. Okay, negative inverts the color of the texture. So if you click on this, it will turn it negative. Okay, so it would flip instead of having high bumps, it will have indentations. Okay, RGB intensity. Okay, RGB to intensity. As the tooltip suggests, converts a RGB image to a grayscale image. So what this does is this makes it a grayscale image when you click that. Okay. Okay, combined exercise. If all the checkboxes and sliders seem daunting, don't worry. Now let's put what we just read about material and textures to use. Soon it will become clear how everything fits together. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our book chapter 5. So we're going to hit open. Okay, you should already have these open, in your Blender if you haven't been working on something else. Okay, I'm already in chapter 5, but you will want to go to the book, then to files, then to chapter 5, and then you're going to go GLSL2-2, which would be, they only got 2 here. Well, I put 2.2, but there's just 2. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to click on that one. Yeah, it's the car. Okay, so this is correct. So GLSL2, okay, is what we're working on right now. I don't know why they put 2-2. It must have been in there before. Okay, you will be greeted with a partial car model that we have prepared, as you see right here on my screen. Hopefully, you will agree that the model is of decent quality and that all it is lacking is a good material to make it shine. Okay, so we've got a material. That's where we're at when we first start. When working with materials, it is important to make sure there is sufficient lighting to see the model, as the lights can significantly affect the way materials are perceived. In fact, without lighting, everything will be pitch black, which is true. I've found myself in that predicament a couple times. In this car example, since we are trying to duplicate a photo studio setup, we have set up a single Hemi lamp in the scene, pointing straight down over the car body. This basic lighting setup gives a very uniform lighting on the entire surface of the car, without any harsh shadows. Okay, so it's giving a light straight down, as you see. There goes the head right here. Okay, we want to give this sporty machine a shiny metallic finish, so that it looks like it just drove out of a car commercial. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to give this car a nice little finish. Okay, to achieve this effect, we will need 2 texture layers. One layer responsible for creating that sparkle found in metallic car paint, and another layer that contains a reflection texture to convey the idea of a glossy finish. The 2 textures shown, over here, the switch over here, these 2 textures here, okay, are provided online. So, you can actually, I believe they have it in the file, so you will have to go in here in the image and book, go to the files. I believe the texture should be in there. Yeah, I get textures. So we need these 2 textures. And the best thing to do, I'm going to leave this over here so you can see. You want to go to view if you're using Windows 11. Yes, 11, sorry, but hey, it works. Put it up there. Large. Okay, there goes one of them, and there goes the which. So we want the blended skies, river, and noise. Okay, so we need those 2. So we're going to look into the files for those. Okay, but it says that these are here provided in the files online. So we got them. Okay, so let me switch back over to here. There we go. Okay, so let me put this one over here so I can take it out of my way for a moment, because I am going to have to pull it. Okay, so select the body of the car, object shell. So that's this little one right here. This blue color over here, it'll pop up. Okay, in the 3D viewport. Notice there is a default material attached to it. But before we spend too much time tweaking the material, let's add textures first. Okay, go to the texture properties, which is this one right here. Okay, texture property editor, excuse me. Click on new and add new texture. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on new, and it's going to automatically add you a new texture. Okay, notice that the first texture slot is now occupied. Rename the data block from texture to something more descriptive like metallic speck. Okay, so you can go here, or you can actually double click on here and it does the same thing. Okay, so let's call it metallic speck. Okay, and then hit enter. Alright, since procedural textures are not supported in the game engine, we have created our own noise image in an external image manipulation software. You can find one already made for you online named Noise. Yes, we already got that one. Okay, so all we have to do is change the texture type to image, and it's already has image or movie. Okay, then click on the open to reveal. Okay, that means we're going to come down here. We're going to hit open. Okay, to pick up the file browser. Oh, look, here goes texture. We were just in there. And the first one we want to get is noise. Okay, so that's this one right here. Okay, so to click it, now, wait a minute, what happened to our pretty blue? What's going on here? Oh, it's okay, hang on. Open it. Now the card should be covered with the texture you just loaded. Correct. The first problem you'll notice is that the texture is stretched across a certain vertical part of the shell. This is because a proper UV texture layout has not been set up. So Blender is trying its best to using a default texture mapping. So let's first make sure the texture is mapped uniformly across the object. With the car body object still selected, hit enter mode, or edit mode. Click on edit mode right here. Okay, or you can just hit tab, it does the same thing. Okay, select all the vertices with a few taps on the A key until all the faces are highlighted. So what they're talking about is you hit A, and then A one more time to make sure all of them are selected. Because sometimes you get like me and you wind up bumping the thing and you only got one, then you hit A thinking you selected them all and you deselected them all. So make sure you hit it a couple times, make sure that all of them are blue, or all of them are highlighted. Mine's blue, you might have green, you might have yellow. The colors really don't matter. It's just the preference of how you have it set up. Okay, UPBGE default 0.2.5 is automatically set up with blue. I just left it alone because that doesn't faze me as long as it lights up and lets me know which ones I'm selecting. I don't care what color it is, as long as it's not black, because I can't see that. Okay, all right. So, all right, with your mouse still over the 3D viewport, press the U key to invoke the UV mapping menu. So hit U on your keyboard, and you're going to see this big old line of stuff. Okay, this is not just simple UV unwrapping. This has got all kinds. You can do spherical, cylinder, cube, you name it. Okay. All right. So select the Smart UV project and leave the options as default. So Smart UV project. And believe it or not, I'm on my project right now. I'm just leaving it as a default, and I use Smart UV project because of the fact that it does it to where you can at least tell what it is on screen. Okay, so when I hit UV project, okay, all these options should stay the same. You don't really need to mess with them. Just hit OK. It takes it a minute, and now down here, you'll see that it has stretched it all out and did. Basically made it look like the car, because now it looks like the car. See, look, all that noise on there. Really rusty looking car. You can make it look like rust too. All right, so we unwrapped it. We left the options as default. This will intelligently project the entire model onto a UV map with minimal distortion. This operation takes a few seconds to complete because it calculates all these corners and everything else, and it does it to the best of its ability to make it sure that it fits uniformly over the mesh. Alright. Optionally, set one of the window types to UV image editor to see the result of the smart project. That's this right here. Okay? So if I make sure I'm on this, if I hit that, I can actually be in this window as well. I'm just showing you that, yeah, this is the same thing as this, except for it's just stretched out over the car. Okay? Don't worry that you can't see the UV map yet on the 3D model. In the texture panel, change the mapping coordinates from generated to UV. Okay? UPBGE, it's automatically got that centered. That's why you see it on the car already. Okay? If you don't, then come on down here in this, okay, and make sure, where's that, go down to the mapping coordinates, which is right here, and make sure it's set to UV. It's usually set on generated, and you get this kind of weird looking shape, or nothing at all. Make sure you have it on UV, so that way it shows you the UV picture instead of a generated one, or an object, or whatever these are, all these other ones are. We went over this in the last week's episode. Okay, let's see. In the texture panel, change the mapping coordinates from generated to UV and select UV map from the drop-down menu. And then you're going to go here and you're going to get UV map. Okay. Now that isn't selected, so make sure you select that because that kind of helps out a little bit, helps it understand a little bit better. This will tell Blender to use the new UV map that you just created. That was this right here. You know, this little guy down here. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to switch over here. Hit 7. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, so now, over here, you'll see this. Now, if I hit tab, there we go. Okay, and I'll switch you back over to here. Okay, you'll see that this looks the same as this. Okay, so we're looking good, right? Okay, good. All right, so let's continue on. It is apparent that the noise is way too big to be realistic. To scale it down, change the size attribute under mapping from 1.0 to 10.0. So we're going to go over here to mapping, okay, and for all three coordinates. So from this one, we're gonna highlight it, hold down on your left key, and just drag it down, okay, to 2. Now it's going to pick all three, and you can easily put it up to 10, and that will put it up to 10. So again, left click down, hold, and drag it down. And that makes it to where you can do all three at once. You can do it on any of these, okay, including, and I'm going to add up, I don't want to end. Okay, end is not defined. Yes, I know this. Now, you can also do that on this. You can do that on these, okay? Okay, you can do it on any of these. Anything that's got X, Y, and Z, you can do it on, and some RGB values you can do it on, as long as it's got more, okay? Just wanted to show you that, because a lot of people don't know that. And they will do each and every one of these, and it's a pain. Trust me, I started off doing it that way. Alright, so, to get the metallic shine, you don't want the texture to affect the color channel of the material. Because you don't want it to look like this, okay? You don't want it to look like that, do you? No. Okay, so scroll down to the bottom of the texture panel, okay, which is way down here, okay, and locate the influence panel, which is right here. Turn off color. Bam! Color's off. Okay, now notice it's not there again. What happened to it? Now turn on intensity and color under specular. Okay, so you're going to turn on intensity and you're going to turn on color. Now if you notice, now it's got that speck to it, doesn't it? Look, you can see it right here, especially on the hood. Okay, now isn't that cool? Okay, this will make the texture affect only the specular channel of the material. This way, the speckle will only be visible when there is light shining on it, which is exactly what you want. Okay, this shows all the relevant settings in the texture panel. Okay, so this will show all of it. So, yeah, it's just got it set. And they set their color to 0.5, so I'm going to go ahead and set it to 0.5, just because they have it set over here. I'll show you in a second. Yeah, oops. Yeah, see, they had this set to 0.5, and they had the intensity and color on. Okay, these are set to 10, Z is only 1. Okay, I need to change that too. Okay, so you go back to Z and hit 1. Let me switch back because you're not seeing what I'm doing over here. And my face is in the way. Ah! That's what you were here. There we go. Okay, so the Z is actually supposed to be 1. I'm looking at that. I don't see why it shows that. Now, if you notice in the book, okay, it shows flat projection. Okay, in here it doesn't even have that anymore. You don't need it. Okay, a BGE changed that to where it's automatic. Okay, you don't need to have all that. All right, so let's continue on here. Let me move me back over here. Whoa! Okay, all right, I'm back over here for right now. All right, to add a second texture layer, pretty sure we're gonna have to go up here. Okay, go back to the very top of the texture panel and select the topmost empty texture slot from the list. Okay, so which is this one right here. It should be one with a red and white checkerboard pattern icon. Okay, so that's what we got. Okay. Click on New, of course, like you did before, to create another texture data block. This will be your reflection layer. So name it Reflection Map. Let's name it Reflection and Map. Now, make sure you put them all together, because I found out that if you put like a space in between it, it does cause problems later on because it's looking for metallic and it doesn't understand spec. Okay, that was big time in old BGE when you like 2.3, 2.4 when it first aired. You really had problems with spacing, so they stopped putting spacing in those to kind of help out with it. Okay, so again, set the texture map to image. So we're going to come down here and make sure it's set to image or movie. Click on open to navigate to textures. So let's go ahead and come on down here. Click on open. We should already be close to textures because we're in the thing. And then we're going to pick blend skylines. I believe, no, it says use Ziffy. Load use Ziffy rectangular, which is right here. Okay, that's one of the ones that I didn't see. But we're going to put that one on there. Okay, and now, wow, that changed everything. This image will be used as your environment map. Under mapping, okay, so it's down here, mapping, set the coordinates to reflection. So we're going to go from here, we're going to come up here to reflection. Okay, this will automatically wrap the texture onto the object in such a way that resembles a real reflection, which it kind of does. The car looks silver, but hey, that's okay. However, notice that the sparkle you created in the previous texture slot has disappeared. This is because the new reflection map texture is covering the previous texture. To make the reflection less intense, set the color influence value from 1 to 0.5. So we're going to come down here to hit 0.75. 0.75 and hit enter. Now notice, now our blue is popped back through, okay, and we don't really have these metal flake in there. Don't really see it, but it's so bright that it's hard to tell. But that looks like a shiny new car. Okay. And I did do it for to make reflection less intense. It's like the color influence value from 1 to that. Okay. Change the blending mode from mix to multiply. So we're going to come down here to blend. We're going to go from mix. We're going to go to multiply. Okay. Now as you see, it's starting to get not so like clear coaty shiny. And it's got that metallically look, which looks nice. This will allow the reflection map to look better on base color. At this point, you should have something that looks like, let me switch over here real quick. There we go. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. Okay, this is in black. Ours is blue, and we're gonna leave it blue because I kind of like the blue. But yeah, you should start to be able to see, like little pivots and stuff like that kind of show the metallic flake. Okay, you can now go back to the material panel and change base color of the card by altering the diffuse color however you wish. So, you don't like the powder blue? Guess what? Let's come over here and make it fire red. Or how about deep blue? How about green? How about yellow? How about Price Fister pink? Okay, you can even make it white, more of a gray. Okay, me myself, I love a black car. So let's make it black. I like a black car because black cars look cool. But you notice that it doesn't look as shiny, as before. So let me go ahead and put this back to 0.5. So point of it. Okay, but I know you can change that around, to work better for you. I didn't change it all. 7.5. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that. I'm just gonna put on a different color. Love black color. Change that to go with a deep blue. Like, yeah, I have a little purple. Dark blue. A regular blue. Let's go with some deep blue. Let's go to midnight blue. Okay, that's a kind of neat looking blue. There we go. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and leave it there, okay? Because the next one we're going to go to is material caching. That's page number 32. Let's switch back over to here. Okay, so that started me now. All right, so that's what we got so far. You have this cool looking effect that makes the card look metallic-y. This looks more like, a bad rush job, but it looks kind of matted. But I do actually have it as a darker color, which if I brightened it up, it looked better and looked shinier. Okay, but I mean, you got a nice looking color. Okay, so that's what we'll stop with for this week, and we'll go ahead and end on page 32. Material caching. We'll tap on that first thing next week. Yeah, I believe we'll tap on that next week, and basically just tinker around with coloring, and materials and textures are really fun. I'm learning them myself, and this just gave me a better idea of how to do my cards when I go to do my cards in my game. So I mean, that's how you do it. So until next week.